What's up, folks? Wolf here, the Alpha Wolves. Remember, we are the wolves at their door. I want to come to you quickly this morning before I get into the water. A couple of things I want to talk about Nesara, Gesara this morning, give you an overview of what's happening. I've been apprehensive to really speak on this too much. Although I did have confirmations, I wanted to confirm it more and just observe. And if you pay attention to the alternative media, if you go to these other sources in other countries and you look at Periscope and Facebook, all this stuff, Facebook Live, not Facebook, because that's a bunch of bullshit for the most part, and anything worthy is censored. But to confirm things that are happening, or at least things that would have to happen in order to be implemented. And I'm very proud and happy to tell you, as me, my audience, and the people that I look up to, we're on the front lines of this. We really, truly are. It's still unbelievable for people. You know, we're still getting ousted and exiled. I'm still yelled at daily, so that means I'm on the right track. I'm shadow banned like a son of a bitch, and I'm a nobody. Just think about that for a minute. I am some guy in Tampa in a living room. I mean, who am I? But the information cannot be denied. And as I told you, your soul will know when it hears truth. Quickly on the fires that are happening, I have a friend of mine who's such a fool, and it's very sad, the level of programming. You can't even tell him, I can't even show him black and white. You know, I've tried to. I figured about a year and a half's gone by since I've last seen him. I figured at this point he has to wake up. No, he's even more sleeping. He thinks the fire, he says, boy, this climate change, huh? I said, are you, bro, if you look, I don't care what scientists, look at the world, the earth, and the cyclical nature of this temperature change or this climate change. So in one sense, yes, climate change is very real, but it's extremely cyclical, and it's the way it is. And as a matter of fact, I believe we're in more of a cooling period. And it's just, you know, I think the last winter, I'm from New England, East Boston area, Peabody, Massachusetts. And it was cold as hell the last few years up there. Talking to my dad, I'm down in Tampa now, but, you know, there's a big joke. He said, boy, that global warming's killing us. You get 3.5 feet of snow last night, you know, and it was ice cold till almost May. These fires it's not climate change as much as it's arson. You know, I mean, people are arrested. A couple people, last night someone was chased and arrested. People are calling all the time. They're driving down this 5 corridor whipping Molotov cocktails. This is not conspiracy theory, you know, and there was an ad or an article published today. We need to stop the disinformation that the people throwing bottles of gasoline and lighting fires, and it's just not true. It's a myth. Just like the myth of the riots. These aren't myths, these are real. It says we can only please encourage people to, you know, not spread this disinformation and use only trusted news sources. Trusted like what? CNN, MSNBC, most of Fox? Come on, man. We're on to you. What they don't realize is how insignificant they have become, almost obsolete. We don't go to them. The majority do not go to them anymore for news. They're crumbling, which means a lot of people like myself, we're going to have jobs, I predict, in this media. So these are our tryouts, and it's not even that. It's not based upon who you know and what. This is going to be a fair system. I know what I'm speaking about today, what I'm about to cover is going to sound complete fantasy ideology. It's not. This is real. I've waited to really get into this, and I'm seeing this happening. We can see this happening. You can't pretend that the Federal Reserve isn't crumbling, collapsing. It's happened. It's real. You'd be amazed how many people think the Federal Reserve is a bank of the United States Treasury. It has zero affiliation. People think, well, and this is to let you know, they'll never be able to suspend the income tax. Well, he did. Well, that's just a deferment. My company's not going to take part in that because your company's in the bag. I'm sorry to tell you this, but your company's corrupt, and they're probably into some real sick shit, which we're going to deal with another time. But it's a deferment, and you owe it back. Well, you certainly will owe it back if the wrong people get into the power. But at this stage, I'm comfortable telling you 100%. And this is, again, fantasy for people who think I'm nuts. But soon they're going to see, oh, yes, there will be I told you so's. Now, I say that jokingly. There can't be I told you so's. You know, we can't gloat when this all happens because it's going to be traumatic for many people to deal with this. This is a system we've lived in, right, wrong, or indifferent. We have lived in it. People are, they know it. And as human nature goes, we don't deal with change all that well. I'll send it here. I apologize about this flag being backwards to you. I will deal with it. I'm on a very low budget. Coming up now, though. So hopefully that gets taken care of over the next day or two. But yeah, this is seriously good stuff happening. If you can feel the change is coming, and the very fact that things are popping off left and right out there tells you they have lost control. This is a scorched earth, and I do believe I do believe this is the show that the president's allowing people to see because of people that don't want to listen. Because they need to be shown. Look, I could tell you something all day long. I could show you, evidently. I could show you things. I could show you what's happening. You still won't believe it. At this stage, the programming is of incredible proportions. You have to live it. And even some people living it can't see it, which is hard for us to imagine, but that's real. Okay. Again, this guy's telling me how, I got my flu shot, do you know 100%, not 99, not 99.9, 100% of all these COVID deaths resulted in people who have gotten the flu shot. That's a fact. It's a fact. I also implore you, go read the CDC's new postings and their website for September 1st and see what they're saying about this. This is bullshit. So, is something else maybe going on? Is it all bad? I do believe for a lot of reasons there's some bad lockdowns, if you will. But I also believe it's playing into Q's plan as well. So let's get into Nesara Gesara. This is basically an overview. So when people come and say, well, what's Nesara? This is what it is. And this is going to sound unbelievable, but this is it. And again, don't take my word for it. Go read the documents. They exist. They're there. These are laws. This was originally proposed in like the 40s or 50s from the farmers, and they were getting screwed. They could see they were having everything being regulated. And I'm paraphrasing in a big way here, but basically, and the government was taking control, bankrupting the farms, buying them for pennies on the dollar, and taking control of everything, the food supply. Part of the plan. That's why our education system, when I was in school, not that I'm Father Time, we had civics, social studies. We had critical thinking classes. We do not have that anymore. They don't want that anymore. That's the whole point of taking the history down, wiping things up. People forget. Think about it. You go to jail, people get, the greatest human, I'm Jesus Christ in my life. And within 3 months, they're robbing houses and doing drugs and stealing. We forget. We get real complacent really quick. And, that's what it is. So, in 1997, Bill Clinton was forced to sign this, which brings up another point. Well, Bill Clinton can't be, he's evil, he's a demon in disguise. He's an absolute awful person. He was forced at basic gunpoint through the military. I don't know that they had guns on him, but they basically said, you're signing this, and that's the way it's going to be. They tried implementing this a couple times. The crash of 2008 or 7 or 8, when that happened, the banks stole the $27 trillion that they put in, that was coming from these reserves. That's why you hear China speaking about reserve. Well, let me get into it. I'm sorry. I go a little up on these. I get wolfy over here. All right, Nesara Gesara. I also advise you, go watch Pimpy's Investments. This guy is on track. Charlie Ward, he's got a lot of information about this. See, these guys have dealt in the financial markets their whole life. I'm just reporting this. I'm not a financial guy, or I'd have appropriate flags. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't be standing up filming the way I'm filming in a pair of orange swimming trunks with a dress shirt. You know what I mean? You get the point. All right, so basically all debt canceled. Credit card debt, all illegal debt canceled. Bank debt, credit card debt, student loans, mortgages. Now, I believe there's one mortgage you get. But anything older, when you buy like a house or something, there's going to be no tax. There'll be a flat tax we'll get into. So basically, you're coming into the personal debt will still exist. So things that you buy, I guess you could say luxury items, if you will. But there's going to be a jubilee of currency, bonds, complete forgiveness of debt. And we're seeing this. You see, they're running these test runs and they're doing this. People are waking up. In fact, if you go to Pimpy, he just announced something really, really cool that is just cementing all of this. I have a family who has a very difficult time believing this. They're so enslaved to debt. They're so used to debt. That's how life is. That's not how life was supposed to be for us. It just wasn't. The fact that we're living today in these times is amazing and it's wonderful and it's not by accident. I promise you, there's design here. You're much more powerful than you ever imagined. And you're much more ancient than you dreamed. Okay? But again, all debt, gone. Like you're going to wake up and it's going to be done. I believe it'll be start implementing really hardcore around January and it'll go for 6 months or so. But then there's going to be no debt and people are going to know. The income tax, which I hear so often today, will be abolished. 100% abolished. Gone. Right now it's under suspension because it takes an act of Congress, which he's not going to get through the House Democrats. They won't even give you the checks, stimulus checks. They won't even pad unemployment because they're not getting the trillions of dollars they want for the cities that they're fucking ruining. That's what's happening. So you can be told all kinds of crazy shit from CNN. Stop waiting for your news. It's not going to come. What's happening is plain and simple. It's been proposed for a month. Let's just put the money in unemployment. Let's just give the people their $1,200 checks and whatnot. And then we'll deal with what we gotta, we'll fight it out. They will not accept that because they planned and knew they'd be burning their cities and they want the money so they can burn them some more. So now they're saying that the president is not helping these cities that are under states of emergency. They're trying all kinds of different angles, different bills they're trying to push in, different bullshit. Well, this is burning, so this means we're a state of emergency, which means you gotta pay. And the president isn't dealing with any of that bullshit. This president's got balls like grapefruits, like watermelons. So when January comes, after he's elected in November, that deferment you think is a deferment is gone. Come January, there will be no more IRS. It's already been almost partially folded into the Treasury. That's where the workers will go from the IRS. Do you know the IRS has zero affiliation with the U.S. government? It's a separate company. That's the truth. Federal Reserve, gone, done by U.S. Treasury. Again, I told you about the employees will be transferred into the Treasury National Sales Tax Division. That's where they'll go. This is going to create, by implementing Nesara, Gesara, it creates a 17% flat rate. That's a flat tax on any non-essential new items. Anybody buying, like I said, luxury items, it's still personal debt. Look, I mean, you got to be responsible for what you do, but you're not going to necessarily be out buying things you can't afford, or maybe you'll have more money that you can afford them and make those sacrifices that you're willing to make, but you will no longer be enslaved to the government debt system. I guess if I nutshelled it, that would be it. Anybody, and here's another thing, like, well, the Social Security is going to do that. Let me explain something to you about Social Security. If it wasn't for this president, it would probably already be fucked. And certainly by putting that bozo in, which isn't even, he doesn't have a thought of his own. He only can read, and even that is a struggle for him. So this plan he has, this proposal he's made that you can read for yourself, and I really fucking beg you to do this before you vote. It's Bernie Sanders. It's the complete communist, basically, manifesto. But wait till you see it's an impossibility, and it's a dangerous thing, and it will collapse and bankrupt this country immediately. which was coming anyway. This is about to bankrupt. The U.S. is going to go bankrupt very soon, but that's what needs to happen. This is what's being forced to happen, so we're able to move on to Nesara, Gesara. I'll get into that. Anyone over the age of 60 will be very well taken care of. Look, there's going to be universal income that's going to pay for your housing, and basically your housing where you, in some, enough money for food as well, I believe. The whole thing is, we're supposed to live as free spirits, basically prosperous lives. You know, as we know, we're in the age of light, where things are coming to light, things are being made revealed to us. The veil is coming off, you know. So anyone over 60 is going to be very well taken care of. They're not going to be scared about living in some rotten home because they have no money, or they're going to die hungry. That's just not going to happen. Donald Trump will not allow that. I mean, you don't like him, but soon you're going to see who this man is. It will return constitutional law to all courts in legal matters, which is absolutely critical. You know, I said to this one, the bar system, it's over. It's already over and done. Do your research. Don't believe me. Do your research. Now, I mentioned that to somebody I know, a friend of mine, and she says, well, now what are we going to do? Now we're going to go to constitutional law. That's fucking ridiculous. Oh my God. You don't even know what the fuck that is, do you? No, I'm not making an insult, because I didn't know, and he did. But the reality is that's the way it's supposed to be. That's what's fair. That's what our forefathers had intended. That's why they wrote this Constitution, because they knew humans, or the evil humans, would tear us apart if there weren't established, set, God-given rights. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. This is God-given rights. You can't take shit away from people that they are inherently born with, okay? All the lawyers, all the judges, they've already started this. In England, it's big time already been implemented. The United States is the last, and it's still happening here slowly. But this is going to be just like we were the last one, that the deep state and the cabal, communist, it's all the same with different words for different people, you know what I mean? And it really runs the gamut and encompasses all kinds of shit, but it's all the same demon people. Again, not religious, but understand, I've learned a lot about what's happening spiritually, and believe me, if you don't look at these people, they're lost in their eyes. Remember when Adolf Hitler would give speeches? I know we all saw that, and we all remember saying, these people look as if they're hypnotized. That's because they kind of were. The Nazis were about the first with this not the first, I mean, you're talking millennia, but let's say in our modern age, they discovered tremendous entities, they discovered different densities, and they discovered how to really fuck with your mind, and split you into many alters, and that's all real shit. The Manchurian can't, this is all real. I go off on these wolfy, I can't stop it, that's me, I'm sorry. Again, it'll increase all the benefits to all senior citizens over 60. They will be provided for. It reinstates the original title nobility amendment. The vast majority of royals that we know in Europe and everywhere, I would say 93 to 6%. Yes, that much. They're not even real. They're not royals. They're probably, who knows, they're probably reptilian of some sort, or they're not even from here, or whatever they are, but they're not of royal blood. They're not of noble blood. These people have channeled spirits who give them powers that they think they're above us, and we become a resource to them. And this is through the 13 Phoenician families that all go for years and years. And although there may be different names, anybody in these high positions has been compromised and placed there. You can be certain of that. You can take that to the bank, cash that check. All right, so that will reinstate and dismount and remove all of the bullshit ones. It establishes new presidential congressional elections, which will be global. Now, when this gets implemented and announced, the president will step down. It's a 120-day turnover, and then they're going to have new, fair, transparent, straightforward, sound elections. And then he will be reelected in what is the most enormous landslide in history. Because at that point, we're going to realize what's happening. A good portion of, at least that we've been completely fucked. And that's what's happening here. And we're going to know. This is something that I have a hard time believing, but supposedly, and what I'm told, and what Mark Taylor speaks about is, not only are they going to vote for this man, and not only are they going to realize he's a decent president, they're going to love him. He's going to be lauded as a United States and world treasure. This is what I'm hearing. I find it hard to believe, but this will monitor all present and future elections. It'll prevent illegal election activities of these special interest groups. Listen to this figure. Over 75% of all elected officials in the world are there through shenanigans and bullshit and nefarious ways. That's the truth. That's big. That's compromise. That's what that, now we all, remember I always say everything's connected, and you'll hear me refer back to a lot of different things, and I'll just glance over it. So ask me questions if I say something you've never heard of, you're not familiar with. Ghislaine Maxwell, her father, Robert Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein. These were operations that were in place to create world leaders in part. I mean, there was a much more to it, but this is part of this thing. These are very complicated, complex, multifaceted, multi-tiered plans, operations. Nothing short of military. Believe that. It creates a new, and this is something that's, and I'm seeing things happen, and it's really cool. And some of the words, these key words I'll use, like rainbow, and you're not going to forget that. And she's not going to forget that. And they're not going to forget that. So when rainbow currency, they're going to have to say, how could you have known that? They're going to have to. Now, again, I'm either a time traveler, a prophet, or I've got good information. That's the only three things that I can get that from. So it's going to create new U.S. Treasury. It's called rainbow currency. And this is going to be backed by gold, silver, platinum, precious metals. It will be ending with the bankruptcy of the United States of America central bank system. The fake, bullshit, controlled fiat currency that they fucking play with. That's done. It's a thing of the past. I'm confident in telling you that that's now. The idea, basically, the idea is that in one generation, people will be born into a world that money isn't a issue as far as, holy shit, where are we going to eat? How am I going to get food? I don't have nowhere to live. Money's going to be a secondary issue to us. Fast forward a generation, and it's going to become, I'm at the age, and a lot of you are at the age, but we're not going to really, we're going to benefit, and we're going to be able to feel good, but our children, this is who's going to really, really reap these wars, and this is who we're doing it for. Look, our souls are infinite. Do you understand that? So our children are going to be us in some capacity. Don't think this world's overcrowded. There's 7 billion people. You can't. That's bullshit. Look at the scattered. Look at how people are scattered and clumped into groups along seaboards and whatnot. These are reasons for this, and it all ties in. Okay? There's plenty of room on this world for a lot more people. But they'll be born into a world where money isn't the worry. It's just there. They can get on with their soul's journey. We are free spirits. We're supposed to be. And not live in this debt-enslaved panic system that they've created for us. And that has become our reality. It forbids the sale and resale in trade of birth certificate records as chattel property bonds by the U.S. government. When we're born, our birth certificates are immediately traded, invested, and it's really true and sick and wrong, and it's what's been going on since fucking forever as far as we're concerned. All right. Also, it eliminates and prohibits any future, present nuclear technology. That is a thing of the past. It's dangerous. It's bad for a lot of reasons between, life and the economy. I mean, the environment, and it's bad and it's gone. There's no need for it. And I'm going to get into why, a couple of things down. There will be zero war. That's part of this. And as you notice, there hasn't been a war for over 4 years, which is the first time in over 30, 35 years. So this president that was taking us to war, that we were definitely going to have a nuclear exchange, has avoided it. Do you know 100,000% that Hillary Clinton getting in was the finish destruction of the sovereignty of the United States? We would be fighting Iran right now with a nuclear war, for sure. That was the plan. That was what was supposed to happen. We were supposed to get really, really fucked. So basically, if you go to war, if you start war with other countries, and you're in this pact, which you got to be in this pact. Now, you can keep your old central bank system and your fiat and your bullshit, but it's going to just crumble because it's non-existent. It won't exist anymore. It won't be recognized. So they have no choice. This is not the New World Order. I'll explain in another video the differences, but you should know the differences. Zero war. These people made money on war. This is how they funded everything. Drugs and war were their main money, in trafficking. Those three is what this is what it was all really about. We were fucking resources to them. And you go to war, you will be stripped of everything. You're not going to get the money. You're not going to get involved. You're going to be exiled, and you're going to regret that decision mightily, or as our wonderful commander-in-chief would say, bigly. This will establish, and this is an interesting one for me. Remember, if those of you that know me, I was raised and indoctrinated as a Jehovah's Witness. And into my 30s, I believed it. I just was strayed from it, or I became worldly. And they always told us, they'll announce peace and security, and that's the end. Well, there's going to be establishing peace in this world. And without the wars and without the bullshit and without the fighting, you're going to find that we are so very much alike. We may have a different color skin. Our noses might be shaped different. I may have nicer teeth than you. You may have nicer teeth, whatever. But we're all electrically the same. Our souls come from the exact same spot. You think right now you're some white Christian. You not very well, maybe you were, certainly an Egyptian, perhaps, a pharaoh, a peasant. You could have been black, you could have been a female, you could have been a Saudi Arabian, you could have been a child, a dog. Not a dog, but you were certainly other vessels, other human containers, without question. And that's a lot of the deja vu stuff. Someday we'll cover all that shit. There's going to be an unprecedented amount of wealth released, and it's going to be for human prosperity, and it's going to be introduced this time from the bottom up. As I stated before, they tried to do this a couple times, the 27 trillion in 08. The bank stole it all. It didn't even make it halfway. It was, boom, the top took every penny. This is part of their plan. Keep building debt, keep collapsing. Interest rates higher, lower, high. This is what they do to keep you broke and dumb. All kinds of money coming in, all kinds of prosperity. Let me just give you an idea. Well, let's get into it. I have it later. Because now some of the stuff I'll repeat a little, but that's probably for good measure. That's how it was presented to me. This is a big one to me. And here's a funny thing. If you notice, and this information, you're telling me that the president or Q isn't real. Let me tell you something. The president talked about this HCQ, right? And they laughed at him. They fucking told it was deadly and all this. It's not deadly. It's an amazing medication with over 200 cures within it. And it's incredible. It works as a vaccine, and it works as medicine. And it works as a prophylactic or preventive maintenance. You know how the president is, drinking bleach. He's telling you to drink bleach. Or, hey, shine a light in your body and you'll be healed. Wasn't it interesting? With the implement of Nesara, Gesara, over 6,000, I believe it's 6,600, but it's over 6,000 hidden and suppressed patents, mostly of energy, health, things like that, technology will be released. And of these, isn't it just interesting? It's just to name a couple. Free energy. These are the Tesla towers you're seeing in Texas and other places. And this is confirming information I got in 2000.